All right, guys, I've been super busy with work recently, so I have not made huge progress on this car or the Subaru recently. But every so often, I get maybe an hour at night and I can put some stuff together, put some parts together, whatever the case may be. So this video is going to be just an overview of what I've done in the last maybe 2 or 3 months at this point now. Let's get to it. Last video you guys saw on this car, we had the motor and transmission pulled out of this, or actually it wasn't a video on this car, it was a video on the Subaru, and we just happened to pull the motor out of this thing in the morning. So we pulled the motor out, transmission got rebuilt, transmission's back inside the car now. Cross member got painted underneath the car. See that? Brand new transmission cross member's painted. I went ahead, redid the entire interior on this car. Pretty much. We have a black dash from a Grand Prix installed in the car. All of the gauges are completely taken apart, cleaned, painted, whatever it needed to be done. This bezel back here got painted. Sorry, the lighting isn't fantastic in there, so it might look a little bit grainy, but once the car's outside, you can really get an understanding. Things I want to change. Steering wheel needs to be changed. We want to change this brown here. That's no big deal right now. Shifter obviously in. I made this little plate thing down there. So this has our fuel pump switch. And that has our coolant temperature. And this is for rad fans when we have rad fans. If you guys are wondering, I can't speak. So I know some of you may or may not know, I wired up the entire car on the Subaru, and everything I wired, especially the fuel pump, is on key. So key has to be on before the fuel pump switch can even turn the fuel pump on. So that meaning if the fuel pump switch is off and the ignition is on, it's not running. If the ignition is off and the fuel pump switch is on, the fuel pump is not running. The fuel pump will only run if the ignition switch is on and the fuel pump switch is on as well. So two safeties there. Personally, that's how I like to do it, just so that in case you forget and you turn the ignition off, the fuel pump will also turn off. Personal opinion. Other people can do it different ways if they want to. We have the seats fully mounted in this car. All 4 spots on each one are mounted. So both seats are mounted now. We have seat belts that are working in this car. We have, what have I done in here also? We painted these pillars here, painted these up here, painted the trim that goes here, and we also installed black visors, and I redid the headliner myself. It's not perfect. You guys will see in the clips that the headliner was pretty destroyed, but we have a black headliner. Still have to do the back and everything, but that's all done there. The thing that goes underneath there is right up top. So we have all that. So the interior is coming close to being 100% done. Like I said, steering wheel needs to be changed. No big deal. Up front, what did we change? Both wheel wells are now mounted inside the car, fully mounted. You can see we have all the screws up top there, and you know, these things aren't going nowhere until we put the front clip on. We have a crank pulley installed. We have a modified water pump pulley. This is consisting of a long water pump and a short water pump pulley. How I did this was, long water pump pulley was cut at the back here because it was too long, it was going to hit the water pump. So we cut off the 3rd row on the pulley. And then I took the short water pump pulley, slid it over top of the other one, cut out the center of it, re-welded it all back together. You can maybe see where some of the welds were, right in here. So these are actually 2 pulleys put together, and they work, so now it's a 3-row. We have, so that way our alternator is going to work, and our power steering is going to work. I made a power steering bracket for it. Didn't know really how to mount them. So anyway, that being said, also trying to find a belt for all of these was super pain to figure out. Water pump is also installed, forgot to mention that. We changed out the inlet for the thermostat inlet, or whatever you want to call it, water neck. Put a temperature sensor up here. I changed the fuel line. I did it my own hard line all the way down there up to here. And we have new fresh hoses all underneath the car. So that's good to go. We have coolant tank installed. We have washer tank installed. Brand new brake master cylinder. And we have new brake lines installed as well. Now, I think that is it for stuff that we've done on this car now. That was a huge progress, and you guys might have seen it also. I took out all the HVAC and I cleaned everything. Everything's got anti-seize and everything's been repainted and put back together. And we also have a new blower motor in there, and everything like that is working fine. So there's only a few more things we have to do, and a little bit more money and some time. But there we go. This thing is coming along. One thing that did happen to me the other day when I was putting all the power steering, I don't know if this is gonna work actually, all kinked up like this, but these lines are all stupid in my opinion. So I'm not sure what we're gonna do with that. That might work, but it's probably not good being twisted like that. Just how it was when I got the car. Don't really know how I could have switched it around any other way. Anyway, that being said, I went to change, or I didn't change anything, sorry. The power steering return line was leaking, bad hose. Pulled off the hose, went to put the hose, a new hose back on, and right where the fitting would be, right here, I just bent this hose a little bit, like just from trying to pry it on. Just say, imagine this is the hose, I was trying to push it on, bent it a little bit, snapped it right off. So we have to get a new low pressure power steering line. I'm not sure if that high pressure one is going to work. The power steering pump and everything is off of this car, but I don't know why it's looped around like this. I tried like rotating the power steering pump and all this stuff, and no matter what I did, it always just has this weird loop. You'd think like all it has to do is this, just come right like here. So I'm not sure why it does that, but here we go, big progress. One crucial thing I forgot, I installed Bluetooth radio, and we have 3 functioning speakers up in the dash. So we can actually listen to some tunes, man. Rock on.